My name is Maureen Holloway. I'm 33, and I was raised in a family that believes appearances are more important than truths, especially ugly ones. We lived in Asheville, where Southern manners dressed up Northern ambition, and my parents wore their reputation like armor. My older sister Veronica always fit their mold, polished, persuasive, and practiced in the art of getting her way. I, on the other hand, was the quiet one, the overreactor, the ungrateful one, the difficult daughter who never quite knew when to smile. For years, I believed I was the problem. Now, I understand I was just the threat they couldn't control. What none of them realized, when they plotted behind my back, when they handed my house over like a wedding gift to Veronica, was that I had already changed every lock. The first thing I noticed was the champagne. We don't drink champagne for Sunday dinner. Ever. And not Veuve Clicquot in a crystal chiller. That's celebration level, not meatloaf and cornbread casual. I scanned the table. Linen napkins. Silver service. My mother's wedding china. This wasn't dinner. This was theater. I have news, Veronica chirped, reaching for her glass before it was even poured. Starting next week, I'll be moving into Maureen's house. My father smiled like she'd just announced a pregnancy. My mother clasped her hands, beaming. My gut twisted. No one looked at me. Just like always, I was already written out of the script. I've already started packing, she added, laughing like we were talking about new throw pillows. I didn't speak. Not yet. There's a kind of silence that tightens like wire. I've learned to let it stretch. 3 nights ago, I'd found 2 giant storage tubs in my garage. One labeled V's winter clothes, the other books, fragile. I'd texted her. She replied, just short term. Don't freak. I hadn't freaked, but I had called my locksmith the next morning. Then Ridgeview Title. Then my realtor. In less than 72 hours, I'd become a woman with a plan and a sale agreement. To new beginnings, my father toasted, lifting his flute. Everyone raised theirs. Except me. You look upset, Veronica pouted. This is good news. My fingers brushed the edge of my purse. Manila envelope. Still there. Not trembling. I laid it on the table with both hands. I have news too. My mother blinked. The corners of her smile quivered. Veronica rolled her eyes.
What?
You bought another air fryer. This is the finalized sale agreement, I said evenly. For my house. Silence. Still. Total. Then, glass shattering. Champagne dripped off the table edge. Veronica's hand was frozen midair, pieces of crystal between her fingers. You what? She breathed. I sold the house last Friday. My father looked like he'd been slapped. That's not legally binding yet. There's still a cooling-off window.
There isn't, I said.
It's North Carolina, not California. There's no cooling period once the contract's signed. My mother's voice went syrup-sweet. Honey, we told Veronica she could stay. Just for a little while. You can cancel. No, I said. Aunt Lydia, who hadn't spoken all night, reached for her water like it was holy. You can't be serious. Veronica's apartment is unlivable. She has other options, I said, pulling out my phone.
Pinterest.
Board title, V's Dream Room. I turned the screen toward them. While you were plotting, I found this. Mom and Veronica have been designing my guest room behind my back. The image shimmered under the chandelier. Blush tones, vanity tables, walls painted rose smoke. My life, reimagined. Without me. After all we've done for you, my father muttered. The old ledger, always pulled out when guilt needed cashing. I stared at him. I paid my own way through college. I've never taken a cent from you. Then you should be grateful. I should be free. The room simmered. Veronica finally found her voice. You sold the house out of spite. Because you knew I needed it. That's projection, I said. You assume I'd sabotage you. But I just stopped sacrificing myself. You don't mean that. I stood up.
Picked up the envelope.
Snapped it shut. This isn't a conversation. It's a decision. One you never thought I had the guts to make. I moved to leave. My mother stood too. Maureen, we are family. Family doesn't make decisions for you. And it damn sure doesn't steal your house while smiling over pork roast. The chandelier flickered. Or maybe my vision did. I paused at the door.
Just for breath.
For power. You're not moving in, I said. Because the house you plan to invade? It's not mine anymore. And you don't have the keys. I didn't sleep that night. Not really. I lay on the couch with a hallway light on, watching the shadows bend along the floorboards like something was waiting to unfold. Every creak, every gust of wind against the windows sounded like footsteps. By morning, I was half certain I'd just been paranoid. Until I went upstairs. My bedroom door was open. Not wide.
Just. Cracked.
Slight. Intentional. I always shut it. Habit. Routine. But the drawer of my nightstand was open. My jewelry box had been nudged, its lid halfway lifted. Nothing looked gone, but everything felt
off.
There's a difference between messy and violated. This was the latter. I checked the front door. Still locked. Then the back. Deadbolt in place. No windows broken. But maybe they hadn't needed to break in. Someone had a key. I'd changed the locks 2 days ago. 6 doors. All deadbolts. Top-rated Schlage security system. Verified and signed off. But I hadn't changed the garage code. I spun toward the garage panel and froze. 4 sets of prints.
Clear.
On the smudge-proof keypad. I'd used it once. Maybe twice.
The rest
weren't mine. I grabbed my phone. Checked the outdoor camera feed. Error message. Playback unavailable. Corrupted file. The hallway light flickered as I stood there, scrolling backward on the cloud backup. No data between 2:12 a.m. and 4:47 a.m. Cut clean. I stared at the frozen timestamp, then walked to my bedroom and found it, beneath my pillow. A business card. No name. No number. Just embossed letters. Family first. Think twice. Panic has a taste. Metallic. Sharp. It sits in the back of your throat, daring you to swallow it. I didn't. I got in my car. Drove straight to Ridgeview Title. Receptionist smiled. You're early, Miss Holloway. I didn't have an appointment. She blinked.
Then.
Who was the other Maureen Holloway? The office was cold. Fluorescent lights buzzing. Walls whitewashed to the point of erasure. A notary walked in, holding a manila folder. You came in at 8:30 this morning, she said. Sign the affidavit to reverse the sale. I didn't. She slid the paper forward. I stared at it. Signature looked right. But the way the H looped, too tight. They always mess up the loop. And yet it passed the scanner. The notary frowned. You showed ID. Describe me. She hesitated. Black coat. Shoulder-length brown hair. Said you had a sore throat, so you wouldn't be talking much. My coat. The one I'd lost months ago. The one Veronica borrowed and never gave back. I walked out before my legs could collapse. My phone buzzed. Voicemail. Blocked number. I pressed play. Static. Then a whisper. I told you. Some things aren't yours to sell. Sometimes the only way to stay sane is to assume you're being watched, I muttered, starting the car. Because in this family, they only smile when they've already buried the knife. I didn't go home. I went to the police station. Filed a report for unauthorized access and suspected identity theft. Officer took notes. Glanced at me like I was building drama out of nothing. Family, he asked. Worse, I said. Blood. Outside the station, rain started falling in long, cold slashes. I stood under the awning. Watched a black SUV idle across the street. Windows tinted.
No Platz.
It sat there. Engine purring. Then pulled away. Slow. Deliberate. I memorized the shape of its rear lights. It wasn't paranoia anymore. It was choreography. They didn't just want my home. They wanted to become me. I parked 2 blocks away from the bank. Didn't use my regular lot. Didn't wear my usual coat. I took the side alley. Entered from the employee door a friend once showed me. No cameras in that hall. No questions. The branch manager, Daniel Reese, met me in the hallway.
Pale.
Eyes flicking sideways like someone was watching. I only have 5 minutes, he said. That's all I can give without triggering a flag. He led me into a back office with a cracked leather chair and a printer that never stopped whirring. Something happened to my escrow account, I said. Someone reversed part of the house payment without my authorization. I know, he replied, without blinking. That's why I called you. He opened his laptop, entered a code, pulled up a transaction log. A reversal request had been submitted at 7:42 a.m.
Signed. Scanned.
Uploaded. Name, Maureen Holloway. Same social. Same last 4 digits of my bank PIN. He turned the screen to me. And there it was, my signature. Not a copy. A fresh one. Bank policy requires dual confirmation for reversal, Daniel said. We emailed a verification code. I didn't receive anything. You did, he said. It was entered at 7:43. Same IP as the form upload. He slid a printout across the table. The IP address wasn't mine. But the router name? HollowayNet guest. My parents' guest Wi-Fi. I stepped outside. Heart thudding. Rain started again. Lighter this time. Just enough to blur the sidewalk. I turned the corner toward my car. Veronica was standing against the passenger door. Black coat. My old one. She smiled like she'd rehearsed it. Sis. You broke into my house, I said. I visited, she corrected. Mom said you'd be dramatic. You impersonated me at the title office. That was before you started locking everything. People don't change. They just get bolder. She reached into her purse. For a second, I thought she was pulling something sharp. But it was a check. Made out to Ridgeview Title. My name scribbled at the bottom in shaky pen. I'm fixing it, she said. You'll get your money. Eventually. I didn't take the check. You're not fixing anything, I said. You're laundering guilt. Mom says you're unstable, she replied, voice soft. She's worried. So am I. There it was, the weaponized concern. Delivered like a lullaby. I walked away.
She didn't follow.
Inside my car, the temperature felt 10 degrees colder. I locked the doors. Turned off the lights. Waited. She got into a gray sedan up the block. Drove off. Not toward our parents' house. Toward the courthouse. I drove straight to my realtor's office. Melissa, mid-40s, blunt, wore stress like a blazer. She took one look at me and stood up. What now? I need to check if the reversal's been processed. She pulled up the files.
Paused.
Then slowly sat back down. There's a new form here, she said. Filed this morning. She turned the monitor toward me. It was a declaration of voluntary rescission. The kind used when a seller wants to back out, signed in my name. Same forged signature. Same timestamp. 7:46 a.m. I never filed this, I said. Melissa didn't answer. She double-clicked an attachment. It was a scanned driver's license.
Mine.
But the photo wasn't my most recent one. It was the one I lost 3 months ago when my wallet was stolen at that cafe on Lexington. I'd reported it. Got a new card. The DMV had flagged the old one as voided. But the bank hadn't. And the title office? Apparently, they hadn't either. You said you changed the locks, Melissa whispered. I did. Not all of them. She pulled open a drawer. Took out a file. Handed me a printed photo. Security cam still. From the title office hallway. Time-stamped 8:31 a.m. The figure in the photo? My coat. My walk. My bag. But the face was just off enough.
Close.
Too close. She didn't just steal your keys, Melissa murmured. She's stealing your identity. I couldn't breathe. I pressed my hand to the table, grounding myself. People steal things for 2 reasons, I said. Desperation or destruction. She's not desperate, Melissa said.
No, y whispered.
She's methodical. My phone vibrated. No caller ID. I answered. Silence. Then the whisper. You're losing track of what's yours. They didn't just want my home. They wanted to become me. The next morning, I found my bank accounts frozen. All of them. Personal checking. Savings. The escrow account tied to the house sale. Even the emergency fund I kept separate under an alias, M. Harlan.
Locked.
Pending investigation. Triggered by a flagged identity mismatch. I stared at the screen. She was 2 steps ahead. Again. And now she wasn't just borrowing my life. She was erasing my access to it. Melissa picked up on the second ring. She's cutting off your oxygen, she said. You need legal defense. Now. Every cent I had is frozen. There was silence on the line. Then, what about Talia? Talia Nolan. Defense attorney. Ex-federal prosecutor. My college roommate. We hadn't spoken in 6 years. Last time we saw each other, she was holding a broken wine glass and a list of things she said I never apologized for. But I remembered something she once told me. Justice isn't fair. It's just clever at hiding its motives. Talia met me at a diner on the outskirts of Asheville. No names. No calls. No paper trail. She looked different. Sharper. Like her edges had grown blades. You look like hell, she said, sipping black coffee. I feel worse. You shouldn't have waited this long. I didn't know what it was until it already was. She slid a folder across the table. Inside, court filings. Power of attorney papers. A letter of intent. All bearing my name. All fake. Filed last week. Initiated by someone claiming to act on my behalf. She's setting up a full conservatorship, Talia said. Claiming you're mentally unfit to manage your estate. Your parents co-signed affidavits. I'm sorry, what? She's building the case that you're a danger to yourself. Financially reckless. Emotionally unstable. Paranoid. The works. My own family? Sometimes, Talia said, your blood is just their blueprint for control. I laughed. It was ugly. Bitter. Like the sound a knife makes when it hits glass. She wants everything, I muttered. Not just my house. My accounts. My identity. Talia nodded. And if she gets the conservatorship, she gets legal right to it all. We drove back into town. Talia parked a block from the courthouse. Inside the county records office, we asked to see the notary logs. A clerk, young, sleepy-eyed, handed them over without question. We flipped through page after page. Then stopped. March 14th. Timestamp. 8:30 a.m. Maureen Holloway.
Signed. Witnessed.
But the signature under witness name? C. Holloway. Charlotte. My mother. She'd watched the forgery happen. Not just watched. She vouched for it. My hands curled into fists. I knew they'd never protect me, I said. But I didn't think they'd hunt me. Outside, the courthouse bell chimed once.
Noon.
Talia lit a cigarette with shaking fingers. Ever wonder why predators in nature don't go after strangers? She said. They go after their own. Easier prey. I didn't answer. Because something inside me cracked open. Not fear. Not grief. Strategy. We drove to the title office next. I demanded access to the in-office security footage from March 14th. Manager hesitated. Talia leaned in. We'll subpoena the entire system unless you let her view it now.
He caved.
Pulled up the file. Played the clip. There she was. Same coat. Same hair. Same purse. But not me. Veronica turned to face the camera, just briefly. Her cheekbones too high. Eyes colder. A blink longer than mine. But the gesture was unmistakable. She winked at the camera. She wanted to be seen. Not just as me, but better than me. Stronger.
Smarter.
Untouchable. And she knew the system wouldn't stop her. Not until she'd finished the job. Back in the car, Talia turned to me. There's something else you need to see. She handed me her phone. A screenshot. Property transfer documents. Filed under a shell LLC named AMC Holdings. Date. Yesterday. Seller. Maureen Holloway. Buyer. AMC. Authorized signer. Veronica Holloway. Power of attorney. I felt the blood drain from my face. That's my house. Not anymore. The car was silent. Then the radio buzzed.
Static.
Then music.
Faint.
Old jazz. Then cut. Replaced by a voice.
Mine.
My voicemail message. Twisted.
Spliced.
Looping back. Hi, this is Maureen. I'm not available. I'm not available. I'm not available. She didn't just want to destroy me. She wanted to overwrite me. I sent the invitations at noon. Group text. Neutral tone. Sunday dinner. My place. We need to talk.
No accusations. No hints.
A distraction. Talia watched me type. You sure? Truth doesn't surface unless it feels safe, I said. And nothing makes my family careless like a table they think they own. By 6, the house was set. Warm lights. Candles. Roast chicken. The illusion of normalcy. I'd mounted a micro camera in the smoke detector over the dining room. Legal. My home. One-party consent state for audio. I checked the feed.
Clear.
Sound clean. I set my phone face down.
Recorder on.
When people think they're home, they tell the truth. They arrived together. Charlotte first. My mother.
Pearls.
Soft smile. The kind that never reaches the eyes. Veronica, behind her. Same black coat.
Mine.
She wore it like a trophy. My father trailed, quiet, hands folded like he was attending a funeral he'd planned. Maureen, Mom said, kissing the air near my cheek. You look tired.
Funny, I said.
So, do liars. She laughed.
Light. Practiced.
We sat. I poured wine. Let them talk. Small things. Weather. Neighbors. The distraction. Veronica tapped her glass.
So.
You called us here to apologize. I smiled.
No. Cut.
I pressed play on my phone. My voicemail echoed through the room. Distorted. Looping. I'm not available. Silence. Forks paused midair. What is this? Dad asked. Proof, I said. That someone had my files. My voice. My life. Veronica scoffed. You're spiraling. That's rich, I said. From someone who wore my face to the bank.
Cut.
I slid a folder across the table. Copies. Not originals. Smart copies. Notary logs. Security stills. The forged rescission. The LLC transfer. AMC Holdings. Veronica's smile thinned. You don't understand what you're looking at. I understand leverage, I said. And I understand patterns. Charlotte's hand trembled. Just a little. I watched it. Mom, I said gently. Tell them what C. Holloway stands for on the witness line. She didn't answer. Veronica did. Stop dragging her into this. Too late, I said. She signed.
Cut.
I played the audio. A call. Recorded. Legal. Talia's voice low in the background, guiding the questions. My mother's voice, clear as crystal. Make sure it's witnessed.
Yes.
I'll be there. She won't notice. My father's chair scraped back. What the hell is that? Charlotte reached for the phone. I pulled it away. You once told me, I said, that family is who tells you the truth when it hurts. Tonight it's going to hurt. Veronica stood. This is harassment. No, I said. This is discovery.
Cut. The doorbell rang.
My father flinched. I didn't move. Sit, I said. No one leaves the table. The bell rang again. Then a knock. Firm. Official. I opened the door. 2 people stood there. Badges. County investigators. One from the DA's office. One from the State Bureau. Maureen Holloway? The woman asked. Yes. We need to speak with you about suspected identity theft, real estate fraud, and abuse of power of attorney. I stepped aside. They entered. The room shrank. Veronica's breath hitched. This is insane. The investigator didn't look at her. He looked at Charlotte.
Ma'am, he said.
Are you Elaine Charlotte Holloway? My mother's pearls clinked as she nodded. We have reason to believe you facilitated fraudulent filings, the woman said, including forged signatures and false affidavits. Charlotte's mouth opened.
Closed.
I was protecting my family, she whispered. You were controlling it, I said. There's a difference. The investigator lifted a sealed envelope. We also have a warrant for records connected to AMC Holdings. Veronica sat down hard. That's not mine, she said quickly. I leaned in. You don't need to own the gun to fire it. You just need access. My father stared at his hands. Why? He asked no one. Charlotte looked at me. For the first time, truly looked. You were never supposed to win, she said. You were supposed to stay small. A line I'd heard my whole life. Just never this clearly. The woman investigator nodded to her partner. Ma'am, please stand. Charlotte didn't. I did what mothers do, she said.
Issues.
You chose theft, the investigator said. And coercion. Handcuffs clicked. Veronica cried out. Mom. The sound was animal.
Raw.
I felt nothing. Or maybe I felt everything, compressed into a single breath. As they led Charlotte away, she turned to me. You'll regret this. I said it quietly. I already regretted you. They left.
The door closed.
The house exhaled. Veronica looked up at me, eyes red. You destroyed us. I shook my head. You destroyed me. I just stopped bleeding. She stood, swaying, reached for the back door. I didn't stop her. When it slammed, I checked the feed. The camera blinked. A red light.
Steady.
Recording. Because somewhere between the wine and the warrants, I learned the only rule that matters. When the truth comes to dinner, someone always gets arrested. The house was quiet.
No footsteps. No accusations. No watchers.
Just light through clean windows and the faint hum of the heater kicking in as December rolled colder over Westchester. I stood in the foyer, keys dangling from my fingers. New locks. All 6 of them. I'd changed every one myself. I wasn't just locking them out. I was locking myself in. For the first time in my life, the silence didn't ache. It pulsed with peace. I walked the hallway slowly, barefoot on polished wood. No shadows darted past the corners. No soft clicks from a phone recording me. No creeping tension behind closed doors. I was alone. And I was safe. It took 3 weeks for the storm to settle. Charlotte was indicted on multiple counts of fraud, elder abuse, and conspiracy to commit real estate theft. Veronica was under investigation, accessory, possibly more if the DA could prove knowledge. AMC Holdings was suspended pending an audit. Their accounts frozen. Talia sent me the update via encrypted email. She added a line. Victory isn't about noise. It's about silence after chaos. She was right. Peace feels loud when you've lived in war.
The twist?
My father pled for leniency. Claimed he had no knowledge. That he was just following Charlotte's lead. But his signature was on 3 documents. Notarized. Traceable. Intent was harder to prove. But negligence wasn't. And in New York State, negligence in power of attorney abuse was still a felony. He wrote me a letter from county lockup. It was 2 pages long and didn't mention love once. Just regret. Which is often what people offer when the damage is already done. I found the journals in the attic a week later. My grandmother's handwriting.
Strong.
Firm. Every page told a different story than the ones I was raised on. Turns out, she'd wanted the house to go to me. She'd left a letter, hidden behind the back panel of her old cedar chest. To Maureen, you are the only one who ever listened. I know the others will try to take what I leave. But if you find this, it means you fought. And you won. Keep going. I sat on the floor, the letter trembling in my hand. Some truths arrive late. But when they come, they settle deep. Like roots. A month passed. I hosted dinner again. Just Talia, Nolan, and a neighbor from across the street who brought his own wine and talked too much.
No secrets.
No sides. Talia asked, so hat now. I sipped tea. I rebuild. What's first? I smiled. I'm installing cameras in the guest house. leasing it to law students. Make it a sanctuary. For what? Nolan asked. For women like me, who got played by family, who need a locked door and a voice telling them they're not crazy. Silence. Respectful. Talia lifted her glass. To survivors. I nodded. To survivors who learn how to stop surviving and start living. Later, I stood alone outside. Cold bit through my sleeves. The wind whispered against the gutters. I looked at the lock.
New.
Shiny.
Firm.
They used to say you can't choose your family, but you can choose which ones you let in again. That's the real inheritance. Boundaries. Love without boundaries is just control wearing perfume. The phone buzzed. Unknown number.
No voicemail.
No follow-up. I didn't answer. Sometimes closure isn't a conversation. It's the moment you feel no urge to respond. I went inside, bolted the door, and for the first time in 36 years, I wasn't waiting for someone to come home. I was already there.